Hello! This is a Vinyl Finds video, really. Although there's quite a few things here that you'll have seen before from the previous haul video. But yeah, I found a few things in there that maybe I wasn't holding out much hope for, but have turned out to be absolute gems and things that I'm really keen on. So I've been playing them loads and listening to them on the playlist. So yeah, I wanted to mention them really and share some of the music. And then yeah, there's also a few things that I've found more recently that I've included as well. But yeah, this first record here is in honour of John Pianist, I think is how he's most often known, or JP to his friends. And yeah, he'd mentioned this record as on my previous video, and I can't remember what he said exactly, but you know, there might be some proper Brummy accents or something like that. I don't know, because yeah, this is Brummagem Ballads, and Brummagem was I think it was a colloquialism for people from Birmingham. Used in the 19th century. And yeah, I just picked this up because it was on this label, Broadside, which I'm sort of familiar with. But yeah, it turns out it is a collection of generally 19th century folk songs about life in Birmingham and the comings and goings of people's lives and relationships and all those sorts of things. None of these were on YouTube. There was one standout for me which I've recorded and put on the playlist, which is this one here, The Rigs of Birmingham, a collection. Oh no, just a roundup of Birmingham social and domestic pleasures. It doesn't go into any more detail than that, and you just need to have a listen if you're intrigued by that. But yeah, it's been amusing me all week. Yeah, so you'd see what you make of that. Yeah, so this is the label. That was recorded in 76 or released in 76. This is the album that made me aware of that label. This is John Raven Harvest. John Raven's actually credited as for production on this record. Also the sleeve notes. But yeah, that label Broadside was set up by him and his brother Mike, I think. But yeah, this is a John Raven solo record, although there are other people playing on it. This is also from 76. Again, nothing was on YouTube, so I've recorded the first track, Factory Girl, yeah, which I've really enjoyed. I mean, it's made me realise that, you know, everything on here is kind of songs from the 19th century that are sort of social history and a sort of document of the time. This was recorded in 76, only a year before I was born, and it's just a completely different era. You know, just the details of this in the songs and people's lives, as in evidence on Factory Girl, just made me realise I'm nearly 50 and how much things have changed. You know, just details like girls combing out their hair at the end of the week because they've been working in the factory, and just details that are lost to time, really. But yeah, I really like this record, and yeah, you can check it out. Yeah, I really like this record actually. So I just thought this was going to be like some sort of compilation. I didn't really study it. Early Burt Volume 3 on Extra, and yeah, so this was released in 76, but it's actually just a repress in full of his fourth LP, Nicola, which was released in 67. And maybe got a bit of a different sound to what you would expect for Burt Jansch, because yeah, it's got a bit more of a 60s pop sound to it, really, and there's lots of arrangements on there. And maybe it's not what most people are looking for in a Burt Jansch record, but I mean, I really enjoyed it, and Yeah, some of his records are maybe a little bit desirable and go for a little bit of money, but this isn't one of them. This is cheap. I think this is less than a tenner, and an original pressing of Nicola is, 20 quid. I don't know why they got rid of the original name, but the original sleeve is similar to this. I think it just says Nicola here, more in this sort of typeset. But yeah, I'm really pleased to get this. I think they put the song "Wish My Baby Was Here" on the playlist. Yeah, it's on this extra label. Yeah, this album's been an absolute revelation, really. I think I was a little bit dismissive of this record. This was the other Shawn Phillips album that I got. This is from 71. Second contribution. This album, Faces, is from 72, and I think I said it's maybe not in the same league or something like that. Whereas this is in a league of its own, really. And yeah, I'm not sure which I would pick as a favourite. Don't know if you can see there, but this says Shawn Phillips Faces, an anthology of music from 1969. So this is actually all recordings from 69 that were just sat on the shelf until 72. And they're all from different sessions. So they all feature an array of different musicians. And so there's quite a few different styles as well. I listened to side 2 first, sort of accidentally, and there's definitely a heavier sort of funk and a bit of a groove to that side. These are the 2 tracks that I've put on the playlist, actually. Anello, Where Are You? And Parisian Plight 2. That track features Steve Winwood, Glenn Campbell, steel guitar. There's like a real heavy sort of organ section in the middle. I mean, these 2 tracks I absolutely love. Side 1, different feel to it, but still excellent. There's one track that's recorded with an orchestra, got harp on there. A great album, and totally underrated, and really cheap. I think the Discogs median of this is about £6. Yeah, on A&M. So yeah, I mean, delighted with that. So this is Love Affair. This is their, I think they did two LPs in the 60s. This is their first from 68. So it's got Everlasting Love, which is just a tune that, I mean, everybody's heard that so many times. But I mean, it is a fantastic song. I mean, it's 60s pop music, I guess, but yeah, done really well. But yeah, there's this track "So Sorry," which I'd never heard before, which I absolutely love. I really like the just really snappy sort of percussion on that. So yeah, definitely keeping this. Yeah, it's on CBS label. Yeah, Nino Tempo and April Stevens. So Deep Purple. This album is from 63. So this is an early one, and yeah, again, it's got an early 60s pop sound to it. I mean, maybe not for everybody, but I really enjoyed a lot of this. The standout is Indian Love Call. Someone on Discogs was kind of speculating that it would have been a recording by the Wrecking Crew, and because there's no credits for any of the musicians, and I think the recording engineer, being Dave Weichman, would suggest it could be a recording by the Wrecking Crew, because I mean, apparently they just played on countless sort of 60s pop tunes and hit albums through the 60s and 70s, I think. Yeah, so I know, again, another really cheap record if you can find it, like, £5-6 quid. It's on this Atlantic label. Yeah, so I mentioned John earlier, and I met up with him fairly recently, and he was he was kind enough to gift me this record, which is Winder K. Frog, Out of the Frying Pan. Incredibly generous of him. I mean, John's been incredibly generous to me in the past, actually, and I think that's the measure of a person, isn't it? And I mean, yeah, this record's excellent. And I was only aware of it because I think he'd picked up this is an American pressing on United Artists. I think he must have found a UK pressing, and then he was showing that on his channel, and I'd sort of shown some interest, and he remembered that, and he gifted this to me, which I'm delighted with. This is the sort of record that makes me realise you can get an album and it's just great start to finish. I spend so much time listening to records, sort of identifying whether there's one or two good tracks and justifying keeping things on that basis. Whereas, things like this are just consistent throughout, and I've really enjoyed this sort of a heavy instrumental sort of UK jazz rock pop sound, really. Quite heavy organ sound to it. You definitely got a groove to this. Which track did I put on there? High Heel Sneakers. I think that's the last track there, yeah. So, I'm delighted with that. And John, again, thank you very much. How many times have you seen this record? I've seen it loads, and it's always cheap, and I always ignore it. And I think it's just because of the title, Ramsey Lewis's Golden Hits. But first off, look at the artwork. What an illustration! It's kind of a flying music making, record producing machine. There's Ramsey Lewis at the helm there, like banging out the tunes. You can see the aircraft machine wings, whatever it is. The two guys, who else is there? Morris and Cleveland. They're in the machine, like doing whatever, cooking up the records in there, and then they're getting pumped out the bottom. Just worth keeping for the sleeve itself. But this is like a re-recording of lots of his 60s hits, I guess. Redone in, what year was it? 73. The thing that immediately jumped out at me about this was how great this pressing sounds. This is an amazing sounding record. So it must have been recorded really well, pressed really well. And again, it's for a bargain price. You'll get this for a few quid. There were plenty of things that I could have picked, actually. This has got a version of High Heel Sneakers on it as well, but I thought I'd better not go for that again. Something You Got is the track that I put on there. So I'd recommend that, really. I mean, it's still just a jazz trio. I mean, they're kind of, they're working within the limitations of what they've got there, but I mean, it's definitely got more of an early 70s sort of upbeat, jazz funk feel to it in places. Really good. Flambeau Steel Band. This has ended up being brilliant as well now that I've got into it. So this is a steel band record that's more like a funk band featuring steel drums, because there's plenty of other instrumentation on there. And there's a few tracks with vocals. The standout being Evil Ways, which is a cover of the Santana tune on the B-side there. It's on this Mushroom Records. Quite a nice label, actually. From 71, so very pleased with that. Really pleased with this. Earth, Wind and Fire. Head to the Sky. This is a repress. This is a later repress of their album from 73. I don't think I've ever listened to their early stuff before. I'm probably just familiar with the big hits of the later 70s. But yeah, really enjoyed a lot of this. Put the track Zanzibar on there, which is the last track. Down here, look. Which is a bit of an epic tune, really. I think it's about 13 minutes long. Maybe it takes a little bit of getting into, because I'm not sure about the instrumental intro, but overall that tune's got a lot going for it. Yeah, this was a recent find and one that I'm absolutely delighted with. So this is Don Ellis and Survival. You can guess the year. It's 77. But yeah, they're just sort of cashing in on the Star Wars thing. But there's actually only 2 tracks, which are John Williams tunes, which is the Star Wars theme and Princess Leia's theme. Everything else is a Don Ellis composition. And Survival are basically a big band ensemble. So you've got all sorts on there. Saxes, woodwind, trumpets, trombones, French horn, tuba, strings, piano, clavinet, synth, bass, drums, Latin percussion, and Don Ellis playing trumpet, flugelhorn, all the rest. I mean, I've had a few of his records, and generally there might be one standout, which will be enough of a reason to keep it. This has got loads of great stuff on it, and a lot more upbeat, a lot more funky, a lot more of its time, really, and probably more to my taste. None of it. Well, the tracks I was into were not on YouTube, so I've recorded Arcturus and Eros. This has got like heavy organ in the middle, which is brilliant. This has got vocals, girl-boy shared vocals. Again, excellent. Yeah, I'm delighted with this. I think the Discogs median of this record's under £4. So, or maybe it was £4 exactly. I can't remember. Really cheap, absolutely worth it. It's on Atlantic. I found this single, Mystic Merlin, Just Can't Give You Up, which is from 1980. So this was kind of nice to find. I got this in the record shop in Selby, where all 7-inch singles are £1 seemingly. This was another one from the Hall, which maybe I wouldn't have paid too much attention to, but yeah, this is Della Reese, Let Me Into Your Life. I think this is from 73. And yeah, this is excellent. This is a lot of cover versions, just done her way. Lay Baby Lay is a version of the Dylan tune Lay Lady Lay. What else you got on there? Let's Stay Together. The standout for me, because it's got just maybe a bit more of an aggressive guitar sound, and just it's really punching a bit more, is this last track here, Who Is She and What Is She to You, which is excellent. So I'll put that on there. Again, not an expensive record, but maybe one you don't see that often. I don't think I've seen that before. It's on this label, People. New York Community Choir, Make Every Day Count. So this is from 78. And this is a Christian sort of disco funk album from the late 70s. And it's all pretty nice, but there's one amazing standout, which is Rejoice, Rejoice, which probably makes this a little bit sought after. I mean, it's not an expensive record, but I think a few people are after it, and I think it's all for the bass line in that tune, really, because that is amazing. It's on RCA. So this was this was an extraordinary bit of luck, actually. I went in a charity shop in Selby, and there was this 7-inch single in there, which I was not familiar with. They'd put this note in there detailing the Discogs values, the median being £35. And then they priced it at £7. which was extraordinary, really. I picked it up anyway, it's Shawnee Jackson, Love Line. Don't know if you can see that, but the writing credits for Kashif. So this is a very scarce and sought after early 80s sort of boogie tune, really. There is a 12-inch version, so this is 2 edited versions. You've got the instrumental and the vocal version, which are both about 4 minutes long. If you get the 12-inch, they're both about 6 minutes long. But I mean, this is still nice to find. So yeah, I think this 7's even scarcer than the 12. But I mean, the 12's probably the one you want. I got this as well. This was £2 from the charity in Brighouse that I sometimes go into. Carol Williams, You've Reached the Bottom Line. So I wasn't familiar with this. I looked it up, and someone on Discogs had conveniently said, you want to just get to the B-side for this version, and described it as super catchy boogie extravaganza. So I was like, yeah, I'll have a go at that, and it is excellent, so I've put that on there. And this was another find, really. Wasn't aware of this artist, Wilma Redding. The sleeve does not look promising, really. I think this is from 74. She's from Australia, and then I was reading up, she moved to the UK, recorded a few albums, this being the second one. Says she's a nightclub singer and sort of cabaret artist and worked in theatre. So some of the vocals, she really maybe pushes it a bit too far. But I mean, there's no denying she can sing. But there's 2 tracks, Keep the Faith and Looking for Another Pure Love, which are absolutely majestic. I think it's the sound that I'm into at the moment, which is this sort of lavish, sort of early 70s orchestrated pop music, really. And just both those tunes are absolutely wonderful. So I've recorded those and put them up there. And already had a few views on YouTube, actually. So I don't know how people find things like that when you've only just uploaded them. But yeah, they've maybe had a couple of 100 listens already, and yeah, hopefully people are enjoying them as much as I am. It's on this major label, but I mean, it's not a record you're going to find that easily. No one's that interested, though. There's only a handful on Discogs, but only a handful of people got it in the want list. And finally, the best of Scott. I decided I was going to keep hold of this because it's just an amazing compilation of all the best songs from these 4 albums. So it's from 69, so it's before Scott 4 was released. And again, not a desirable album particularly, not worth anything, but it sounds immaculate. I think this is the thing about greatest hits releases from back in the day, that they do sound amazing. Like, I don't think you're going to get a Scott Walker greatest hits press today that's going to sound anywhere near as good as this does. And every track's an absolute winner. I think I put Copenhagen on the playlist, which is from Scott 3. There you go. Sorry, a bit of a longer video, but hopefully there's something there that's worth checking out. Cheers.